Hey, I'm trying to expedite this and get right into it because this guy's very gracious to give us his time, and what a stud, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, the world's greatest poker player.
If you say so.
No, you are. I mean, from what I've read and what I've seen, Daniel Negreanu's joined us, and I don't know if we're going to have time for this, so I don't want to get it in real quick. But what we do, Daniel, is we get people to just step in the carnivore corner. Let's just we're going to hear a great ID, and then we're going to pick it up.
Step into the carnivore corner, where we act a bit more like established gentlemen. But an established gentleman who's proud to drink his wine with a juicy burger or a bone-in ribeye fresh off the barbecue.
And you're perfect person to be here. You're the guy with the most amount of winnings on the tour.
That's a fact. All-time money leader for sure.
And that's where it counts.
Exactly. Right? That's how we keep score.
Yeah, so welcome Kid Poker, everybody. Thank you for being here. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, just excited to check out the premiere tonight.
Yeah, very exciting. You got the big documentary. You worked on it with PokerStars, PokerStars.net, and I want to get into that in a moment because what an exciting thing to watch your life go on screen. And you're a pretty young guy. It's not like you're doing this at the age of 80. You're doing it at the age of, is it 40 or 41?
Yeah, but I'm going with 26 for life, Peter Pan style.
Yeah, I like that. Just don't try and jump off any buildings. You can't fly. Yeah. Daniel, man, it is awesome. You know, you get into the world of poker right at sort of its peak as a very young guy. You drop out of high school. By the way, we went to the same high school.
No way.
Yes, we did.
Which one was that? A.Y. Jackson?
A.Y. Jackson.
No kidding. How old are you?
So I'm 42, born in 73. Also like to think I'm 26.
So I must have you in my yearbook then.
So I brought a yearbook here. And I don't know if I actually don't know if you're in this. Are you in this yearbook?
I gotta be in that. I have that yearbook. Okay, this is crazy.
Jay, pass Daniel the yearbook. I found a yearbook. It was so wild. I literally found a yearbook a couple of days ago out of nowhere. I found it in an old box. And I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, when am I ever going to use this? And then I find out I have Daniel in the program. And it's absolutely perfect thinking. And I didn't even look because I wanted to see if this was the years. I thought maybe this might prove how you did drop out of high school. if you're not in it.
I might be briefly in this one. I think this was the tail end of my days at school. Most of the time was at the the pool hall.
Yes, sir. Did you now this is going to sound local, especially here on SiriusXM where we speak not only to Toronto but everywhere. But Daniel, did you hang out at the Pickle Barrel Plaza?
I did. I played at Studio Billiards. Pardon me, Palace Club Billiards.
Palace Club Billiards.
Yeah, right downstairs there.
That was your home base.
I spent a lot of time there. That was before my poker career got started, really. Was just playing pool over there, playing snooker, trying to win $5 off a guy, And then, through that, I met some guys who played poker, and it went from there.
So what a fascinating thing, because that's sort of what led you into the world of gambling. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Actually, people don't realize this because if you live here in Toronto, but Toronto's kind of like a gambling mecca. It's a gambling breeding ground. You got Proline, you go to the games, you got the 50-50 draw, you got lottos, you got all this kind of stuff. So it was very easy to get, enveloped in that world.
I didn't realize that, and that was kind of like my question. How does one go, oh, you know what? I got a talent for this game, for this gambling, for poker, for hold'em, and back to it. So what would your first experience have been playing, and at what age would you have been doing it at?
I'd say I was about 17 years old, really, and it just came down to we were playing pool, and these guys said, hey, we're going to play poker. So we got a 6-pack of beer. I brought my $10, played all these crazy wild card games, lost my money. I'm like, okay, that was fun, but this is a stupid game. And then we started to do it more often, and I kept noticing, the same guys keep winning, right? And then I realized, oh, this is not luck. This is a game of skill. So now I was into it because I'm a competitive guy, and I wasn't going to let them take my money. So I started to play more and more and start to study the game a little bit.
And Daniel, you say that it's a game of skill, and as much as a lot of us laymen here just love to play it and stuff. I see people kind of in my world, I always saw you're right, one or two people winning, but I couldn't figure out what that skill was. You can study this craft then, that's a big part of it. It's not that you're just a psychic or something.
Totally. So there's there's several aspects of becoming a good player, right? Number one is the easy part. It's learning the fundamentals. You can learn that in a book. Okay, so what are the odds of this? What are the odds of that? You can just learn that stuff like you would you studying anything in school. Then the discipline to make sure that you're doing the right thing, so you don't get bored and say, oh, I have a jack and a 6, I feel like playing. You just stick to the system. But the most important part is the third trait, which is psychological aspect, understanding how people think, and more importantly, how they perceive you. What do they think you do? So if I played with you and I thought oh, he thinks I bluff all the time. Well, I'm never going to bluff you. I'm just going to play, straight. Or if I thought you think, well, he's not going to ever bluff, then I'm going to bluff you. But that's my job to figure that out.
Well, it's watching watching you in this run you've been on for the last 2 decades. It is fascinating because it's the emotion that one gets out of watching poker is emotion you see written in a movie. Like there's so much drama, there's so many extremes that it can switch so momentarily when the odds are stacked up against you. And I remember a couple of matches where it's like, you would look at, they call them do they call them matches? What do they call
Whatever.
them?
You can go with matches. It's fine.
And it's exactly that, where you would call people out on what they had, and it fucks them up, and they had it. So it's like you play the other player just as much as you play your own cards, and also then try and figure out what they're thinking about you.
I love to play the game of psychological warfare, right? So if I'm playing with you and I look at you and I go, you have King 9, don't you? Right? The rest of the day, you're going to be deathly afraid. I mean, you'll be intimidated, like, what the hell, man? This guy knows what I have. So what that'll do is it'll make you more timid and careful against me, which is exactly what I'm trying to create when I do that. Because there's no reason for me to tell him I know what he's got, but it's intimidation thing.
And then you can bully them, which is really where the success comes in.
Now
Is
he's
that
going to
fair?
be off his kilter. He thinks he's playing great, and I'm like, you got King Queen, don't you? He's like, oh shoot, he knows what I have. So it just makes it harder to play against a guy like that.
Do you get sick of talking cards all the time? Like, does it drive you crazy? Everyone must see and want to know the tricks and the trades. It's like being a Dragon's Den or Shark Tank guy. Everyone wants to give him a pitch. Everyone wants to learn the game from you. Does that at some point go, fuck, I made a great career out of this and I would continue to do so, but like, leave me alone already. Let's talk sports or something.
No, it's fine. It's just like when people ask for so what's the secret? Like, how do you do it? What's the secret? And as if that one phrase that I'm going to give them is going to make them millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to keep your expectations to a minimum, right? I can give you little tips here and there, but to be good, there's no substitute for actually putting in the work and playing.
And in the trailer that I saw for Kid Poker, and it airs on the 1st on TSN at 8:30, TSN 4. Make sure you check out this much anticipated documentary again called Kid Poker, chronicling the life right here of the gentleman who sits right in front of us, Daniel Negreanu. I didn't realize what I saw in the trailer. You actually lost everything at one point very early on.
It's not quite correct. I lost it many times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, on my way to getting be successful, I went broke probably 20 times, and I had to learn those lessons, and I wouldn't change anything about it. I made bad decisions, but that taught me that, okay, you can't do that. So if you have a $1,500 bankroll, don't play in a game where it's all riding on the line at one time. But when you're young, you feel invincible. You're not going to, I can do this. I can beat these guys, right? But the key was really going to Vegas, feeling like I was hot shit and I knew everything, and then realizing that these sharks have seen hometown heroes come and go, and they kind of scoffed. The one moment I remember was playing with 7 people for 24 hours, right? I quit. I went broke, went to the bathroom, washed my hands, came back. They were all gone. So in that moment, I knew I was the sucker. They were only playing because of me, and I was furious. I remember that.
Goodness.
I'm like, I remembered every one of their faces, and I'm thinking, I'm going to come back and bust all of you.
And have you? Did you?
Well, what ended up happening, there was one guy in that game, Hawaiian Bill was his name.
Okay.
And Hawaiian Bill, actually, I looked at him as a mentor eventually, because I'm like, wow, this guy's cool. But at the moment, when I lost all my money, I was furious with all of them.
So back to sort of that layman aspect of it. I watch it. I watched Rounders. All that kind of stuff. They look for people. They look for suckers. They look for guys they can grab the quick money. And is that considered collusion though? Really, or is that just sort of how the game works?
Well, I mean, that's essentially one of the aspects of being a professional poker player is finding games you could beat, right? So if you're the 6th best poker player in the world, but you're playing with the other 5, you're the sucker.
Yeah.
Right? So the idea of being a professional poker player is you have to gauge, okay, is this game good enough? Am I going to make money out of it? So that's going to require some recreational players a lot of time. And if they're none, and there's 5 pros, they'll look at each other and go, you know what? This game's not worth a damn. I'm not going to play.
It's exactly like Brody plays football with 8-year-olds.
World champion. Yeah. Largest 8-year-old according to Guinness Book of Records, too. I fooled him.
Just not as much money in it, but,
Not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money. So you're out in Las Vegas, Daniel Negreanu. How's that lifestyle compared to, as we mentioned here, you growing up in Toronto? Is it drastically different?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, right? It depends who you are. I know a good friend of mine, Antonio Esfandiari, he lived the Vegas life. He was on the strip, partying, doing all this stuff that you do in Vegas. For me, I'm a suburbs guy. I live on a golf course, quiet, go to the gym. I play soccer a couple times a week. I live like a normal person's life, watch games when I have a chance to. But I don't even play poker when I'm in Vegas. So I don't live much differently than I think I would in any other city. But if you want the opportunity for craziness, there's craziness every night in Vegas.
Has it been hard in this lifestyle of fame and celebrity, which poker players are literally, I call them like poker players, chefs and poker players are the new rock stars in this world.
And DJs.
Yeah, DJs, yeah. They got the easiest job. They just push play.
Press a button. Hey, give me $80,000. I was here 2 hours. Come on. Where's my check?
It's so not fair.
It's madness.
But was it hard for you, or maybe you did at some point get caught up in that craziness of Vegas and that lifestyle?
I mean, maybe in the early days, in like my early 20s, I first moved to Vegas. So we'd go play a session and the guys would go to like some strip joint or something. And that was like where we would hang out. And then we'd wait, then we'd leave and it'd be like bright out. And our eyes are like, and the sun is burning my face. But I did that for a few years and realized like, okay, this is not getting me to my goal, right? I need to get my ass in gear and I need to start working towards having enough money so that in my 30s, I don't have to work anymore.
Smart. I saw in the trailer as well, and I'm really excited to see the film Kid Poker, Daniel. You come from great parents, it looks like. And is that a big part of it, your upbringing, as to why you kind of just held it together?
Absolutely. My parents were perfect. I mean, really, when you think about like I've seen other people and they talk about their parents and the struggles they had. I mean, my mom loved me. My dad loved me. They instilled good values in me. They talked about being a good host to others, make sure other people have food. My mom was that woman who's like, you come over and she says, are you hungry? And you go, no, I'm good. She still puts a bunch of food in front of you.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you want a drink? My dad would say, no, I'm good. He'll pour you some sort of shot of something. You just had to. It was just kind of the way, that European way. And I was brought up in a very liberal kind of European style household.
Whereabouts is the family from?
Romania.
Romania. Excellent. And can you speak Romanian?
Păi sigur că da, vorbesc românește.
Do you ever do that in a poker game with you?
If I'm speaking to people that are Romanian, absolutely.
Yeah. I would do it just to piss them off, like even if they didn't, just to throw them off even more.
Or I do sometimes the dealers that are dealing are Romanian, and I'll start talking to them in Romanian. I was like, what the hell, man? Like, this is bullshit.
It's like old country at that point. They're fixing it for sure.
Yeah, right. They're like, hey.
Is that one of the, I guess, one of the hazards with being a poker player is that people assume that maybe, and this isn't me assuming, but in the world you're full of shysters, full of scam artists. It's like, have you heard a lot of that in your day?
I would say definitely when I first started out, right? You say to someone like you're a professional poker player, and they're like, oh, that's just like being a crack dealer, right? And that's changed. It used to be, ooh, disgusting poker player, to like, oh, hello, Mr. Negreanu, right? And a lot of that has to do with it being more corporate. I play in casinos. When I was in Toronto, I was playing in seedy places, in back rooms and stuff like that, where you had to get, you had to like show yourself to the camera, kind of like in Rounders, to get in the door.
Cool.
But today, the environment I play in, it's nothing like that.
It's the red carpet access type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing in safe casinos. Like, we've seen Ocean's 11 and all that, but that's the movies. Like, people don't come in there and rob casinos. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't work that way.
Pretty stupid.
Do you, is there a place that you don't get noticed? Because, you think of the World Series of Poker. It's the world loves this sport. Are you noticed everywhere you go?
Yeah, except for probably yoga. You go do Bikram yoga and they're like, I don't know who you are.
How sweet is it doing yoga in Vegas? I imagine
it's
a lot of hot women.
Yeah. Depending where there's, it's good. Yoga's fun. I love Bikram yoga. I'm such a yogi.
Is that just part of the relaxing, sort of mellow Daniel Negreanu that maybe people don't see and don't know?
Well, my life, I mean, there's a lot of fun and excitement when I'm on the road or whatever. But when I'm home, a lot of people are like, you're boring, dude. Like, I go to the gym at noon, and then I'll play soccer a couple times a week in a league, and then I'll watch sports, I'll watch TV shows, I'll hang out, just have dinners with friends or whatever, but pretty just chill, normal lifestyle. I don't have to work or nothing.
Good for you, man. You love your sports. You're at the you're Toronto boy, such a supporter. Leafs, Raptors, Toronto FC. You were at the Raptors game last night.
I was at the Raptors game. It was a lot of fun. Got LeBron. LeBron was like in the corner where we were, and it was just nice to see them win. But I had a really interesting thing happen at the game. So this guy comes and sit next to us. Where I'm sitting courtside, right? These two, guys, big black guys in suits, right? Like, and he looked at me like, I don't know, he gave me the mean mug, right? And I'm like, okay, whatever. So around the second quarter, I thought I'd make some small talk with him, and I go, so are these your season tickets? I was just curious, right? And he's like, I don't live here. I'm like, oh, really? Where are you from? He goes, why? Like that. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. I'm from Vegas, just curious. He's like, I'm Cleveland, bro. Like, and angry. I was like, okay, well, end of that conversation. It was just odd,
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is unfortunate. It's like you're just
made it awkward.
You're just starting a nice conversation with the guy.
And then I realized, okay, you're definitely not Canadian.
No,
because Canadians don't do that.
Well, that's a great question. You traveling the world and knowing, the top poker players and top athletes, top everyone. Is there a difference with Canadians? Do you notice that?
Yes, it's real. Like, you ask people in America when they meet Canadians, like, you guys are so nice. I did a shoot for a TV show recently, and the director was even like, sorry, can we get you to do it this way? It'd be great. Like, in America, it's like, cut! You screwed that up. Every just little aspect of the way that Canadians are, it shows up. You can tell when someone's Canadian based on it's almost obnoxiously nice sometimes, right? Like, you can bump into a Canadian and knock them over, and they say sorry. Right?
Yeah.
It's very unique.
Do you like out in Vegas, or when I'm sure you go to LA sometimes and stuff, do you find that you're always kind of like coming together as one, like you bump into the other Canadian success stories out there?
Oh yeah. There's like Gavin Smith, Greg Mueller, Mike McDonald. There's a bunch of us, and there's some camaraderie there, especially when, any Toronto team's doing good, or when there's hockey talk. There's not a lot of guys to talk. Hockey's much bigger, obviously, in Canada.
Yes.
So, Canadians, when we're around, that's typically what conversation leads to.
And you, Daniel Negreanu, Kid Poker is here hanging out with us on the Todd Shapiro Show, brought to you by Pete's Pizza. I gotta do that stuff. And then,
I hear you.
You gotta just absolutely love that what the Jays did and being part of Toronto. Was that a neat time being away and seeing all that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I actually wasn't able to come to Toronto to watch the games, but I was obviously watching them from Vegas and everyone from Toronto. Like, what I think is cool about the Blue Jays, it's really Canada's team. So the whole country, was on board with it. It was a shame how it went down. It's pretty sad, but, KC played pretty damn good.
Yeah. Oh, no question. And and the Maple Leafs were your team, are your team. However, as I'm reading and doing my due diligence on this world famous guest, I see you're part of a group trying to desperately get an NHL team in Vegas.
We're going to get a team.
Yes.
We have an ownership group. We have an arena already being built. It'll be ready by May. We have 13,000. I was part of a group to sort of like solicit ticket sales. We're selling tickets to something that doesn't even exist, right? And people put 10% deposits down. We sold 13,000, not including corporate boxes. So the interest there's 2.2 million people there. And you think about Vegas, right? Like, how many people say, you know what, let's make a vacation and go to Columbus and watch a game? No. But when Calgary's playing Vegas or LA's playing Vegas, people are going to come. So it'll create kind of like a playoff atmosphere in there, and the seats are going to fill. And Vegas brings a lot of glitz and glamour. And don't worry, they'll be good. Because think about it. Every free agent that has a choice between like Vegas or Winnipeg, come on, it's not close. We're going to get all the guys. And we'll get them at a discount, too.
I love it, man. And better tax breaks, too,
Yeah,
I
no
think.
taxes. I mean, we're going to have a really good team. We're going to win a cup before Toronto does.
Okay, that was so funny. That was literally a question I wrote down.
Yeah.
So, I never thought about that. That's brilliant. That, for me to go and travel to watch the Leafs, maybe I'd consider doing it in the playoffs. I'd go down to Florida. But if the Leafs are playing on a Saturday night to the Las Vegas, what would you call them? Do you know?
Well, I mean, I like Rat Pack. That's my personal favorite, the Las Vegas Rat Pack.
Yes.
But I think it'll probably end up being Knights or Black Knights.
Knights or Black Knights. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking like the Ice Chips or something. Can we?
Okay, that's pretty lame.
I had a couple other written down. Wait, where are they now? I want to top that. I want to get better. But you're right. That's a brilliant move where you would go. I would take a weekend trip with the boys, have a great time in Vegas, check out the Leafs playing there, and watch them lose.
Yeah, sure. And the games, like a lot of the games, like they do this in LA as well. You have Sunday afternoon games, right? Which gives us even more of a home ice advantage. You're going to have the road team coming to Vegas on a Saturday night, right? They're playing a 2:00 game, and Jaromir Jagr's going to come down and be like totally wasted until like the third period. There's a built-in home ice advantage.
You guys could win in the first. You could win the entire thing the first season if you just set them up at a really great hotel with super active nightlife and just kind of leave stuff in their
Make sure the
hotel room.
games are bright and early.
They'll be like 41-0 at home, and we'll just hope to see how we are on the road.
Just win like 3-4 games on the road.
The opposing players literally still have condoms on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, Jaromir Jagr tripped on his condom. It fell off. It snuck through. But so, I mean, it must be fun though, being a part of it. Now, if you were to get it, and if it comes to fruition, Daniel, would you really want to be a part of the management group and help make decisions? Would that be a goal of yours?
Well, I like Bill Foley a lot, and he's a prospective owner, and he's a smart guy, and I've had good conversations with him. They have a lot of guys on board that are going to help with the analytics. They know how to do it. But in terms of strategy, basically, I'd love to be able to help them explain like really how it works these days. And the Leafs for so long have done it wrong. The last 20 years, years by bailing on the system of like, you got to start from the bottom to get here. You know, you can't just be mediocre. You have to dedicate yourself to a long-term plan. That's 4 to 5 years of, you know, collecting draft picks. And not my buddy Phil Kessel, I needle him with this all the time, but 2 firsts and a second for that team when they made that trade was horrible. It ended up being a guy named Taylor Sagan and Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
Not that they're any good, right? but you know, really just being dedicated to the long-term plan. And then you look at teams like Chicago and LA. How did that happen? They started from the bottom to get there.
Yeah, brilliant building within their system. Does it, you know, you're obviously still always going to be a Leaf fan, you know, despite you one day getting a team in Vegas. But does it make you frustrated, a little bit angry, like going like, how haven't they figured this out in so long?
You know what? I actually have hope now. I think the Leafs are finally getting it, and they're finally dedicated to not. The key is, so when this team starts to get a little better in 2 to 3 years from now, what do they do then? Are they going to, you know, just go for it too early? That's the biggest thing. Because like in Toronto, if they go 0-82, they're still going to sell out. So it's the one market where you have the opportunity to wait. Markets like Florida and Phoenix, they don't have the luxury of just dedicating 3 years to losing because they're not going to get anyone to come to the games. That's not the case in Toronto, but they don't take advantage of it by really doing it. And I think Brendan Shanahan and the new brass get it and are going to be like, okay, let's not patch holes here. Let's just scrap it, start from scratch, build through the system. Yeah,
another great point. That they're going to support it no matter what. And even if you don't see them, they'll be in the, you know, they might be in the ACC lounge or whatever. Like they might like not come up for the second period, but all those tickets are sold.
Yeah.
Like the clients and the fan base will always be there. Man, six World Series of pokers you won, 6 bracelets. Now, do you wear the bracelet?
I have the bracelets in cases at my house. I feel like it's a little bit pompous to be like, yeah, world champ here, look, you know.
Are they nice bracelets?
Yeah, like they're all different. Actually, I think I might be the only player that has 6 different ones from different eras because they've changed over the years. So I have 6 different ones. But I'm not exactly ecstatic about having 6, to be honest. I feel like I should have 9 or 10 by now, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
So interesting. And most recently you finished 11th, right? Is that
in the main event?
In the main event.
That's the big one.
That's the big
doozy.
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's when they get 7,000 players in.
Wow, but you still walked away with a ton of cash.
I got like $526.
Yeah,
but honestly, if I
did that's not $526. That's $526.
Yeah,
100.
But the thing was, at that moment when I came 11th, like if I would have waited 2 spots and came 9th, I would have got $1 million. And I know a lot of the other guys, for them, they were doing that. They were just trying to like hang in there and fold and play careful. But I was going for the win. You know, nice. I didn't care about the bump from 526 to $1 million. I was going for the 7.5 or whatever it is up top.
Interesting. And I like the picture I saw. You were like you were on the ground. Like now was that? I mean, is it? Are defeats still heartbreaking? Is that why?
That one is, that's a special event, right? I play tournaments all the time where you win or lose like millions of dollars. But this one, the energy was crazy. I knew the crowd was like on board. They were like, into it. And it was 7 straight days of play, so you're like, you're just totally invested, right? And the moment in the hand, it was such a close situation where I'm like, okay, my emotions actually got the best of me, right? And then I saw the last card, and it was just like, no. And I literally, my knees buckled, and I fell down. I actually hurt my head. It was pretty bad.
No.
Yeah.
They're like, Negreanu might have a bit of a concussion now. Yeah. Now's the time to play him.
Yeah, right.
He might not be as good as he has been. In those 2 decades, can a game like Hold'em, can it change, evolve? Other sports evolve and change. Can this one?
Oh, totally, and it has. Like you think about, you look like football as an example, right? Where in the original days, the NFL, they just play a team, and that was that. Now there's game film where they study and they know the numbers, they crunch it. Well, poker's gotten to that point too, where a lot of the young guys, they know exact math on different situations. They have all kinds of scouting reports they can do on me, and the level of play has just gotten better. The average player is far better today than they were 10 years ago.
And I mean, for you, do you sit down and break down opponents too? Like, is that a big part of it? You'll sit, like, is there how much say preparation time goes into a match? Is it like kind of like being a boxer? Is it kind of like that?
Well, for me, I don't do much anymore because I've gotten so comfortable in doing what I do. So basically, my goal is to play a style called small ball, like the Kansas City Royals did. If it worked for them, hey, it could work for me.
Yeah.
So basically, it's if you think about a boxer, like you said, it's I keep my guard up and I throw tons of jabs. I just keep throwing the jabs, keep that guard up until I have an opening, and then I go for the knockout punch, right? And my system works, right? So regardless of how they play against me, my understanding, what matters for me most is how, as I said, how people perceive me. And then again, if a guy thinks I bluff all the time, I'm not going to bluff him, or vice versa. So I don't do a lot of the preparation because I know most of the guys, and I have just faith in my ability and what I do.
Wow, I love the confidence. Is it hard to be friends with guys on tour because you're so competitive? Is that
Not at all.
Not at all.
You know, it reminds me of, I remember, Bob Probert and Wendell Clark. I talked to them about, I was doing a show with them, and I was like, so you guys used to fight, right? And they'd be like, yeah, we'd fight, and then we go to dinner after. Right? They would just fight in the game. They go to dinner. With poker, it's the same thing. When you're at the table, you're going for blood. You're trying to destroy them. But after, you're friends. I've got a lot of friends in poker.
So there's a lot of respect. Who are some of those good friends that diehard poker fans would know that it's cool that Daniel hangs out with?
Well, Phil Ivey for sure.
Yeah.
He's considered the all-around best for a long, long time. And then Jennifer Harmon. Eric Lindgren's a buddy of mine. I got a bunch of buddies in poker.
How about a Helmuth?
I like him. He's nuts. He's crazy. I love beating him because he just cries like a baby. It's so fun. Like there's one video someone put together of me beating him 3 hands, and the whole video sounds like this. These fucking beep, 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 mother, beep, beep, stupid idiot, beep, 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 the whole thing through. It's just me crushing him and him bitching like a baby, and I'm laughing my ass off the whole way through.
He's just losing it. It's kind of neat, isn't it, that you can play, you think about the diversity in poker, and that must be really, really kind of cool, because that doesn't really happen in a lot of other kind of sports.
Exactly. That's one of the things I love about it is there's no discrimination, right? Whether you're black, white, large, small, strong, weak, it's all about your mental, ability, right? So there's no barrier, whether you're male or female. So anyone can sit with anyone. And on top of that, a lot of people would love to play golf with Tiger Woods or, play basketball with Michael Jordan or something. But with poker, if you have the money, you can.
Anyone can sit at that table.
Yeah, and you could beat him a pot. Just like, in the old days, Matt Damon tried to do against Johnny Chan in Rounders.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, I beat him. I took him for a hand.
So has that ever happened to you where you'll I'm sure there's celebrity kind of charitable games where people really like to play with you, but has it happened where you've had some pretty high stakes games with guys who maybe didn't know it, but just wanted to play with the champ?
That happens all the time.
It does.
Oh, yeah. There's Hollywood games today, that to get into them, there's barrier, you kind of have to be invited. But they're probably some of the biggest games in the world right now. And they keep the pros out for the most part, unless they like the pros. So if they like you and you're fun and you're engaging, they don't care if you beat them for big numbers. Like a couple guys, I mentioned Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke, who's dating Jennifer Tilly. They get in all those games because they're fun. People enjoy it. They're not going to sit with guys wearing sunglasses and hoodies and not talking. They want to enjoy themselves, right? So that's part of what it was to be a poker hustler back in the day. If you're playing in a game where you're a big winner, they better like you. Otherwise, they're not going to let you play. So that was lost on the younger generation to some degree. But I think they're starting to understand that now.
Is there a best sort of celebrity player like a Jennifer Tilly, or is there a couple that really stand out?
Well, Jennifer's playing a lot now, but there's one in particular who could be a professional if he chooses to be, and that would be Toby Maguire.
It would be Toby. Wow. Okay.
Toby's good.
I read the stories of Toby a few years ago, and who knows if he was fronting games. I don't even need to get into that shit. I don't care.
He makes a good amount of money, I think. Yeah. He doesn't need to do any more Spider-Man in the poker games he's in.
So he's that talented of a card player.
Yeah, and he's obviously, he gets in good games, and he does really well. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, back to that, movie star, rock star, whatever you guys are just as famous. Do you what is a great story that you wouldn't mind sharing with us that even wowed you? You're like, I'm a kid from Toronto, dropped out of high school. I cannot believe this is happening to me, Daniel Negreanu.
So I sign autographs and take pictures when I'm at the World Series. Well, this woman came up to me and she turned around and she goes, sign my tramp stamp area, right? Like her ass. Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. And I'll do it. No big deal. And then she turns around and says, I'm going to get a tattoo of that. And I laughed. I'm like, that's funny, right? And then so she comes back the next day. It's tattooed. It says Kid Poker on top of it. She put that on their Rio World Series 2010. So she got the tattoo. Now I met her husband 3 days later, and he's like, can I get a picture? It's the least I can do because every time I tap my wife's ass, I got to see your name. And I was like, sure, we can do a picture.
At least he has nonstop whiteout to put on it, Daniel.
Yeah. Every time I go all in, I see your face.
Well, the creepiest part is she said she did it for him because she knew he was a big fan. Wow. So he's like, maybe I'll get more action if I have his name on my butt.
And
you asked for creepy. There you go.
That is awesome. That is so funny. I know you have the big premiere tonight. Are you can you stay for a few more minutes? Are you in a rush? Do you care? Do you want to hang out?
I think we're good. I don't even know.
I think they said you could stay till 5, but I don't know because you got a red carpet. You got.
We're good. No, we're good.
Well, let's talk about the movie, and then I got to do this after. I got to play around with you here. Can we do it?
You want to play poker?
One round. Well, yeah. One. I got cards. Or is that like, you can tell me to fuck off if that's annoying.
We can do that.
We can do it. But we're doing it. We're going to do it with trick. We're all wearing masks. We're gonna hide so you can't see our tails. I got like a balaclava. We're gonna do it later. I got like a gorilla mask, and I got like a matador mask or something here, a wrestling mask, and I got like, I don't know, like a Robin Hood thing. You can tell us to fuck off. But let's talk about the movie, and then we'll come back and do kind of the frivolous stuff in a moment. Man, to be approached to be like, let's get a documentary on this fascinating lifestyle. That must have been pretty humbling to know, like, hey.
Yeah, and it really just started with, they were going to do, they've done a few of these like 8 to 10 minute, sort of videos for online, and they were going to make like a 12-minute video. And then she had more footage. She said, let's make it 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then it's like, she said, I want to make a feature-length film on it. And I'm like, okay, so I really had no say in it, but the woman, Francine Watson out of the UK, she really had a passion for it. So she as you saw the trailer, I think they've done a really good job.
Fantastic.
Production quality and stuff like that. So she just felt like she could tell a heartwarming, inspirational story of overcoming failure to reach the highest levels in your career. And I feel like the hope for the documentary is that it has crossover appeal, in that it's like, it doesn't matter if you're a poker fan or not, you can learn something from it.
Yeah, and you can feel that in the trailer, and that's sort of the genuine side of you, which people wouldn't know when you're just chirping at the table, and you have fun. You are known as a nice guy, but I mean, you might not see it in just the family life and the struggle, and then going out there like that. I would think for the average person, it would just be beyond overwhelming, and the talent to remain as grounded as you're doing. I can't wait to see this documentary because it shows, back to that Canadian kid, like just a guy who went out there and crushed it. And that's what the trailer gave to me, like someone who's real, a real genuine side of Daniel Negreanu. And that must be cool for people to get to know the real you. Yeah,
no, I think so. And I think the story really that's told us, I didn't really have a roadmap of anyone to follow in terms of like, how do I do this? I was just a guy in Toronto playing cards, and I didn't really know how I was going to get to be successful. All I did know was that was going to happen. I was very, very confident in my teenage years that I'd figure it out. I already felt like the best player in the world even at 21, even though I was wrong. The point is, I came from a very confident place, and just shows you how far that will take you when you actually have a real belief at the core. Like, I don't believe you succeed at anything in this world without first believing that you can. And I always had that. I didn't have any results or evidence to show that I could, but I believed in my heart that I could do this. And my mom would be like, Daniel, forget about the poker. You go to school, But I just knew that and then eventually I bought her a house and a car. And she's like, oh, no, I like poker. Poker is nice. It's good. Poker is good.
Thank you for not listening to your mother.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow, that's it's that, and that part of the inspiration, it's motivational for people because in this day and age, there's a lot of, like, people put a lot of doubt on themselves, and they do it, through social media. If they don't get a lot of likes on an Instagram photo, or if they don't get, some noticed or whatever. And you're right. You got to believe in yourself. And some would say that that's one of the most important messages to know from people who have had that success. That it wasn't just handed to them.
Really, the way that I focus on it, my goal was, okay, I'm going to be financially stable in my 30s. That was my vision, right? That was my end goal. That was my intention. The details of how I was going to get there, they're less important. Focusing on the actual end goal, like, what do I want to create in my life? What do I want to have? That. And always, now matching up every decision I make with that intention in mind. So is drinking and getting partying late at night when I have a tournament the next day, is that in the vision with my goal? Is that in line with my goal? No. So then I know those decisions don't do that. But without having the end goal of knowing where I want to get to, how am I going to get there? Like, how do you get to the end finish line if you don't even know where you're going?
Was it exhausting, getting there? Was it, or was it just still you loved getting there?
No, it was kind of fun, honestly. Yeah. Being broke, it was like there was romantic aspects of it where it's like, I love the pressure of having my back against the wall where, like, if I lose this pot, I'm done. I'm broke. I got nothing left. There was a story I remember once in Vegas where I was playing in a game. I started with $600. I was down to $82, and I just lost. And I'm like, I was supposed to pay the big blind next, and I'm like, screw this. They're not taking my money. So I took it. I was playing 20-40. I went to play 1 to 5. This is all in the same day. I grew that $82 into 182. Then I said, you know what? Let's go up to a next game, 6-12. And then I had it up to 286. I went to 10-20. I had it to 486. Went back to the 20-40 game, 6-7 hours later, won about 800 or 900. Said, let's go up one step further, 40-80. So instead of just quitting on that $82, I ended the day with like 4,500. Right? And it just came from like grit and saying, you know what, I'm not going to quit on this.
Yeah,
And that was fun. It was actually a lot of fun.
Dude, that's. I mean, I love it. I would have probably taken. I would have looked at that 286 and gone, you know what? I'm comfortable.
Yeah, but I started the day with 600.
yeah. Exactly. I'm not. I would have done that. I would have given up, and that's. There's the risk part of it too. You must. I'm going all over the place with the interview.
Oh no, I mean that wasn't a smart decision.
Yeah,
but it was like part of a learning process for me. Like I wouldn't recommend that. Like it should have viewer discretion as advised. Like don't try that at home.
But you got big balls. Like I mean that's part of who Daniel Negreanu is.
They are. They're large. They're rather large. I've been told. The entire area.
All right. Well, we're gonna see how we're gonna see how big they are. I don't know if you have time because I saw your PR team wrapping up, but we'll try and get to it. I can't promise. We'll see if we can, but we do got to take a quick break. Daniel, hopefully we can. At least we'll come back and say goodbye. Daniel Negreanu is here. Kid Poker. It premieres on TSN on the 1st at 8:30 TSN 4. Go and check out this unbelievable documentary. And there's a big screening tonight for those remote few who have been invited over at Bell TIFF, the TIFF Lightbox, whatever it's called. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back in a second here on the Todd Shapiro Show, brought to you by Pizza on SiriusXM. We got to do this. All right. Daniel's got to run. Daniel Negreanu's here. We're going to thank the sponsors in a moment. What we're going to do here is we're going to do a quick... I was going to do the Carnivore Corner with you, but we don't have time for that. We'll call that the Carnivore Corner. Daniel, there's a bottle of Carnivore there for you. Take a bottle of wine just as a gift.
Thanks,
it's right in front of you, man.
Appreciate it.
We like to give
hammer this home.
Okay, Jay, throw on... Jay, what do you want, Jay?
I will take the baklava.
The what? What was that word?
Baklava.
Yeah, okay, I want to get some music going here. Roddy, what are you going to wear, Roddy?
I'm wearing the eye mask so he can't see my eyes.
Okay, you can't see. I think you got it on backwards. All right, and I'll wear. We got here, Roddy. Wear this hat. You're gonna look like a joker. Daniel, do you want to mess your hair? I know you got a big premiere. Or do you want to wear one of these or no? Do you care?
My hair is so perfect right now.
Yeah, it is for you. You look good. Okay. I'll throw on mine.
What's happening right now?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna throw on this thing. Don't look at my hair. All right.
Dan, you ever just walk into somebody's stag and just clean out the whole wedding?
Just play poker with them and take all their money?
Yeah.
It's not like I go and they're like, "Who's this guy?" It doesn't happen. You know.
I would do that. Okay, we got cards here. He's gonna. I'm sure this is like the last thing Daniel wanted. Here we got a shuffle because they're all like. Here we go. Roddy, pass. Daniel will deal for us. Because and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna play one hand. Now we just have chips. Okay, we actually just have a bag of chips.
These cards are awesome.
Yeah, those are cool cards, eh?
Yeah.
They're my wife's, and so we're just gonna do. I can't even see, let alone play. Can you hear me through this balaclava mask?
With real potato chips.
Okay. Yeah, we're playing. We're big stakes here. And we're not even flavored. Not even flavored. And then each chip will be worth whatever, $1,000. Okay.
Right.
And we'll play one hand because Dan's got to run.
Daniel three-way or heads up?
What's that?
Three-handed or heads up?
Well, I don't even know what that means.
Is it three of us playing or just me and you?
Let's all play. Roddy, you gonna get in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we play four of us? Can we do that?
Yeah, four.
Okay, four.
We
We got chips. I don't need. We're gonna get shit. By the way, we're not supposed to have food in here. Here we are on the program.
That's his hand over there.
Okay.
That's him.
Thank you.
That's me.
All right, this is cool. I can't believe Daniel's doing this. What a nice guy.
Okay.
What a nice guy. This is cool. All right, so now the bet goes to, am I big blind?
You start. We'll just start with you.
I'm big blind. All right, I'm putting in, we'll just say we each have 100 chips here. I'm putting in, and they're each worth $1,000. I'm putting in 3 chips. I'm putting in $3,000.
I'm going to eat $2,000.
I bet Daniel.
I'll eat one.
Okay. All right, we're just eating.
And I'll raise you 3,000 more than I'm going to eat.
Oh, wow.
And then, I think it makes sense, since we're teaching aggressive poker, to stick it all in.
All right, it's all going in.
We got to go all in.
This is the way, we're putting it all in here.
We got to run it out.
All right.
I think I got faulty cards because I got 2 A's. It's not numbers. I got 2 A's. Yeah.
That's a pretty good hand.
See, that's a good bluff. Do people ever do that? Talk? Are you loud?
I do it all the time.
You can make up something that you might have.
Yes, to a certain degree. We have some stupid talking rules now. We have to be careful of what you say, but
Screw the rules. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Let's deal it out.
We got a flop coming.
We'll open it up. We'll flop it up.
All right.
We're all in. We're gonna see who wins
flop
this.
Is 7, deuce, queen. Got any of that, people?
That's great for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm feeling
Okay.
good.
And
Here comes a turn
the
card.
turn
Is a king.
a king.
2 spades out there.
All right.
All right, and here comes the river. It's another king. Do we got any pairs over there?
I have all I have is deuces. I have deuces.
pair of deuces.
Yeah,
Can
I have
anyone
pair
beat that?
deuces. I have pair deuces.
I can beat that.
What do you
I
got?
got a small straight
There you go.
with a 2 and queen.
No.
You don't. 2, 5, 6, 7 is not a straight.
5, 6, 7, small straight.
Okay.
That's 3. That's crap. You have
Oh,
nothing.
okay.
How about you?
11. Hit me, Daniel.
You have nothing as well. All those chips, send them here because I got a pair of sevens.
That's why he's the champ.
What do you know?
You know, add that to your 30
Right.
million in total,
They
buddy.
thought they'd throw one hand and they somehow beat me, and still they can't.
Never. Hey, listen, man. This is. I'm very grateful for your time. I'm very grateful. This is a really neat moment. Watching the success out of a guy who came from my high school, and I do remember you from the smoking section a little. Like I do.
Yeah. I just saw your picture of you back then, and yeah, I remember you too.
And it's neat. Toronto is so on the map, and call it because of guys like Drake. We can't forget about the few that represent us so incredibly well, and you support your teams and you support this city, and it's fucking awesome, bro. So continued success to you.
Appreciate
Best
it.
of luck, and
My
Daniel
most
Negreanu.
fun interview in the last couple of days by far. You guys are a blast.
I really appreciate that. Go check out Kid Poker again. It's on December 1st at 8:30 on TSN4. Canadians will be the first to see the incredible documentary, again, Kid Poker, which chronicling the life and career of this poker legend in front of us, the one and only Daniel Negreanu. Thank you again for your time.
Hey, what's up? I'm Roddy. Subscribe to our channel. You're going to love it. For the rest of this episode, you got to check out our podcast online on the website. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed.